The Michelin Guide is now celebrating restaurants committed to a more sustainable gastronomy. 300 restaurants have already been awarded a green star.
Remember when fine dining meant decadence and maybe overindulgence? Foie gras, Kobe beef, caviar crowning every glorious dish. Now, it's beetroot tartare, carrot foam, and celery consommé with a sprinkle of moss. Yes, you heard that right. That's $300 for a menu that reads like a compost bin. All to worship at the altar of a smug little green leaf. According to Michelin, this is the new age of fine dining, where starred chefs trade white truffles for white lies and filet mignon for mushroom medallions. Michelin calls it the Green Star. But the world's most elite restaurants aren't going green to save the planet. They're doing it to save themselves. Because it's clear that Michelin's not in the food business anymore. They're in the optics business. Billy Wagner from Noble Heart and Schmutzig in Berlin famously declined the award. He proclaimed, "The Michelin Guide simply pinned the Green Star Award on us. Honestly, I even find it dangerous." This shiny little leaf, slapped on the same old gatekeeping system, is just an eco-flavoured marketing gimmick. It's not a reward, it's a cover-up, a smokescreen, and it's time we called it out. Before we uncover the truth, hit like if you've ever questioned who decides what fine dining really means, and subscribe if you're ready for more deep dives into food, culture, and power.
Sustainability for us is far more than just recycling. It's a guiding principle. It's woven into every decision that we make. This comes from growing our own food in the garden, to where we source our ingredients, to fostering important and long-lasting connections with those suppliers, with those customers, with the community that we're in, really.
In 2020, the Michelin Guide launched its new Green Star, a leafy icon meant to recognise restaurants leading the charge in sustainability. From reducing food waste to sourcing locally to, of course, offering plant-based menus. But let's be clear, the Green Star is not a Michelin star. It's not even a half star. There's no ranking, no scoring, no transparency. Chef Christian Puglisi from the former Raleigh restaurant in Copenhagen said there was absolutely no fact-checking. I could have said anything and it would have qualified me. Michelin says it goes to chefs who are role models, whatever that means. Food writer Alicia nailed it. Sustainability has become a buzzword that can mean everything and nothing at the same time. In reality, the Green Star is a PR move. As consumer consciousness grew, so did the Michelin brand's anxiety. Michelin praises chefs with a strong vision and commitment to the environment. But there's no mention of carbon emissions, ethical labour, or land use, which are actual sustainability metrics. It's simply a shiny new symbol designed to make Michelin look modern without changing anything. But the real question is the Green Star about sustainability or just sustainable marketing?
Green Star is one of their newer initiatives. With all the attention on climate change, they wanted to recognize chefs who are doing more than just cooking great food. They're also protecting the environment. The Green Star is their way of recognizing chefs and restaurants that are going above and beyond for the planet while still delivering mouth-watering food.
Now, top restaurants are racing to adapt. Not because of ethics, not because of climate guilt, but because of visibility, awards, and staying in the Michelin conversation. Let's talk about the esteemed restaurant 11 Madison Park in New York. Long considered one of the crown jewels of fine dining in the USA and abroad. Founded in 1998, and by 2017, it was crowned the best restaurant in the world. 3 Michelin stars. For years, the kitchen's most iconic dishes were love letters to animal fat, dairy, and decadence. It was a temple of culinary indulgence. But then came 2021. Chef and co-owner Daniel Hum shocked the entire fine dining world and announced that 11 Madison Park would go entirely plant-based.
11 Madison Park had 3 Michelin stars for 11 years in a row. but for serving meat. Our restaurant was famous for honey lavender duck and poached lobsters and caviar.
I remember when you changed over to vegan, I go, I mean, I love you. And I'm like, good luck, buddy. You know, I'm rooting for you, but what do you? Are people going to buy into this? I mean, people must have thought you were crazy.
You know, our restaurant was famous for duck and lobster and foie gras and lobster and and caviar and all these things.
You're telling me.
And
my favorites.
And we removed them all.
You committed a crime.
The switch came with a lot of buzzwords. He said, quote, "We have a responsibility to imagine a more sustainable and equitable future." He called it a moral choice, a stand against environmental destruction. Sounds noble, but let's not forget, the restaurant barely survived the COVID pandemic. When it reopened, it needed press, and going vegan gave them headlines. The New York Times declared it the most ambitious restaurant in America to go vegan. But here's the kicker: critics weren't sold. Pete Wells of the New York Times famously described the revamped experience as, "Some of the dishes are just weird, an expensive pile of vegetables." The rating for the review? Brutal, no stars, and it gets murkier. The restaurant continued to serve meat to VIP guests behind closed doors. Menus from late 2021 revealed foie gras, roasted chicken, butter-poached lobster, and beef tenderloin still being served in private. When pressed, Hum clarified, "We're not anti-meat, but we are pro-planet." And the virtue signalling virus started to spread globally. In Denmark, the 3 Michelin star and 2022 best restaurant in the world, Geranium excluded meat, but kept seafood. Which raises the question, was this really a shift in values, or a shift in branding? Here's the irony: these sustainable menus often come at unsustainable prices. $400 for a vegan tasting menu. Let that sink in. $400 for carrots, grains, and foraged leaves. No rare tuna flown in from Japan. No dry aged beef. And an additional $1,000 with wine pairings. You're just paying more shavings of black truffle over oats risotto while sipping a carbon-neutral Pinot Noir. This isn't culinary progress. It's aspirational austerity. Poverty cuisine rebranded as luxury, stripped of its origins and resold at a markup that would make Wall Street blush. Minimalism has become a flex. Empty plates with a single microgreen. That's not restraint, that's design. And let's not forget the psychology behind it. By charging more, they convince you it must be special. If it's this expensive, it must be saving the world, right? At the famed 3 Michelin star restaurant, Osteria Francescana in Modena, Massimo Bottura, once the poster child of modern Italian luxury, now dabbles in, quote, refuse cuisine, cooking with kitchen scraps. In interviews, Bottura says, cooking with waste is not about being poor, it's about being smart. Let's be honest, this isn't about democratizing plant-based eating. This is luxury veganism, a curated lifestyle choice for the rich, dressed up in environmental guilt. But only the rich can afford this new morality. Let's call it what it is, selling ethics as exclusivity. And Michelin? It's ready to cash in. The money doesn't stop in the dining room. Cities pay millions to bring the Michelin guide to their region. And Michelin needs restaurants that align with its new green luxury image. So it rewards those that fit the script. Restaurants, in turn, chase the narrative. If you're seeing through the greenwashed menus and the gastronomic virtue signalling, drop a like and leave an engaging comment. Your clicks tell the algorithm this story matters. As the Michelin Guide pushes sustainability, it continues to ignore entire food cultures that are naturally plant-based. Where's the green star for that mum-and-pop South Indian spot serving thali on banana leaves? Where's the recognition for Ethiopian restaurants that never needed meat to begin with? The answer? Nowhere. Because it's not about plants, it's about presentation, prestige, and proximity to Michelin's European gaze. As food journalist Jenny G. Zhang wrote in Eater, the most sustainable foods are often humble, local, and rooted in tradition, but they're rarely the ones that win awards. Restaurants in the global south don't get rewarded for being sustainable, even though many have practiced it for centuries. But when a chef in Paris puts a chickpea on fine porcelain and calls it elevated cuisine, it suddenly qualifies for a green star. Now, Michelin chefs are locked in an arms race of who can virtue signal harder. At L'Enclume in England, chef Simon Rogan grows almost everything on his own farm. At Schloss Schauenstein in Switzerland, Andreas Caminada banned imported water. And then there's Narisawa in Tokyo, where dishes include tree bark and soil essence. Let's talk about the food, because how can it taste good without the very things that make food delicious? In traditional fine dining, meat and dairy are tools of complexity. Butter builds flavor. Stock builds depth. Animal fat carries aroma, texture, and satisfaction. Now chefs are trying to simulate those sensations using fermented cashew creams, mushroom broths, and endless foams. But imitation has its limits, and sometimes the result isn't innovation, it's deprivation. And the reviews are not encouraging. Pete Wells wrote of a highly acclaimed plant-based tasting. There are dishes where you admire the ambition more than you enjoy the taste. Grace Dent of The Guardian added, "By the fifth course, I felt like I was being punished for something." When food loses its ability to evoke warmth, memory, or craving, it becomes performance, a slide deck of good intentions. For a culinary movement supposedly rooted in pleasure, the modern vegan tasting menu often feels more like a lecture. In the end, the Green Star is not a revolution, it's a costume, a leaf-shaped badge of performative progress. So the next time you see that vegan tasting menu, ask yourself, is this really about the food, or just another Michelin mirage? Until next time, keep questioning the hype and your appetite. Hit subscribe and comment.